Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 54 of Local to Global here with the Canadian Wrestling Coalition. Now, of course, we come off our best ever pay-per-view. I have to say that it was really enjoyable to kind of see the fruits of the labor come through there with the very solid, well, the more solid semi-main event compared to the a little bit lackluster main event. I only say it's a little bit lackluster because obviously it just kind of fell short of that semi-main event, albeit there was one sort of lower competitor. I only say lower because I mean lower in popularity, not exactly lower in actual performance. But I'm going to continue with a few, actually with one storyline, only one. Yeah, now that I'm looking at my notes here. But let's advance into, well, let me show you the size first of all, because somehow we've improved even still. I thought that we might have finally stopped gaining popularity in Ontario, but we find ourselves on 82 pop, which is unbelievable. I think our attendance was like just shy of 50,000 people. Actually, it was just shy of 53,000 people. That's crazy. Anyway, there is the show, of course, 88 main event, and then we had a 92 rated semi-main event. But last episode, we also upgraded our broadcasting. And we did that in order to potentially start getting some increases in the US again. Now, as you can see, it was once again another oversight by me with the broadcasters, with our personal broadcaster. Obviously, I made a big mistake not getting a very big coverage initially when we bought it, because obviously it would have been a hell of a lot cheaper. But we're going to stick with this one because we can shut it down, but the Coalition Network would, therefore, the name would be taken. So we would not be able to call our new network the Coalition Network. And I wanted to do it just because I felt like the series might benefit a little bit. But in looking on it, I feel like keeping a little bit more realistic and actually sort of succumbing to it, well, to my mistakes and not our mistakes, but, you know, succumbing to those mistakes and then trying to build up from there is probably a better way of going about this series, because I know you guys are enjoying it massively. I just want to say thank you for all the support. Really, really increased over the last, like, 3 or 4 weeks, probably. And we're pulling big numbers again every episode, which is really, really impressive to see. Anyway, we'll increase the coverage to medium in the USA. I was going to try and get big, but as you can see, once we hit medium, it's going to cost just under 9.5 million for us to get the same level of coverage that we have in Canada. So, as you can see, we only have 7 million left in the bank, and we've spent a lot of money. Let me show you the finances real quick. As you can see, we've spent 11 million in the last 2 months, literally on the broadcaster, and that's about it. So, yeah, I think we might want to have a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 months, without sort of spending any money, because it looks like we're on track to potentially make between 1.5 and $2 million every month in profit. So we can have a few, you know, decent profitable months like that, and we could really find ourselves in a much stronger financial position to then actually go for the big coverage in the US. It's also worth mentioning that despite only having the medium coverage in America or the US, we still actually gained popularity through all those regions. We gained in 18 regions, which is obviously Canada and the US. So it kind of worked. Anyway, what do we got here? Black Maple coming in for Jack Pride. We've got Des Davids finally joining CWA. Nothing else really there. You got Maddie Faith choosing to reside in Alberta now, which is interesting, I guess. Kind of weird that he doesn't want to come to Ontario, but whatever he prefers, I guess. Anyway, so first things first, let me chuck this onto Brampton. And then we'll try and do some meddling here real quick as well. It's literally only Davis and Kavanaugh who still have their hatred for each other, which is another very interesting thing to be trying to resolve. But anyway, here we are. Now, it's going to be tough because we have to keep 2 storylines, right? So one of these storylines, we're not actually going to end. We're going to add a lot of new storylines, end a lot of these as well. But obviously the Unified World title can actually be ended because we'll create another new world title storyline after, I guess next month would be when we start it. But basically what's going to happen now, we're just going to take Papa Swole and Public Enemy out of the Coalition tag titles. We're going to end the Gilmore passing the torch storyline as well. The tag division is going to stay like that. However, we are going to remove LA Starr 1 and LA Starr 2, and we'll add in their future competitors. Now, the one that's also going to stay as well is the emergence of Logan Wolfsbane. Of course, their match, Logan and Aldous, 92 rated at the pay-per-view, was absolutely incredible. The Goat's Redemption, we can end that one as well. I think that was a pretty good storyline for Davis, I guess, in his redemption. And I guess we could actually keep this one as well because it's relatively hot at 73. That is the push to Canada taking Gonzalez. So we may as well start with this one. And Gary Walker's opponent is going to be Matt Hocking for this month. Hocking didn't really do anything last month, and looking for him to have a pretty impressive month. Again, similar sort of mold. He obviously is the face going into the heel competitor, or the heel champion, I should say, in Gary Walker. The tag division is about to heat up a lot, because we are going to throw the Golden Goats. Yes, the Golden Goats will be taking on Young and Wasted. Big tag team title storyline coming out of there. Not for the titles either. And you would have to assume that the winner of this sort of storyline would probably be next inclined for a title shot. And interestingly enough, we are going to go with the Coalition Tag Team title storyline. And we're going to throw our recent debutees into a tag team title storyline. So the LA Stars are going to be taking on the Moneymakers there as well. So I really like all 3 of those. We're going to add some more storylines in, of course. We're going to call this one Fractures in the Crew. And this one's going to be our interesting way of keeping Mobstar out of the main event of this next pay-per-view. So Mobstar is going to be teaming up with Papa Swole to take on Mighty Kavanaugh and, of course, Public Enemy. Should be a really good storyline. Now, obviously, Kavanaugh has big morale issues. Still can't really solve those, which is, like I said, a pretty big problem for us, especially over the last few episodes when we've actually tried to use him, because we are 100% guaranteed for him to have a worse performance than he normally would. So, our last storyline, I think, yes, it is our last one to add. It is going to be Maddie Faith taking on Ozzie Goldstein. This one, I guess we'll just call it a bit of revenge. And it's literally just going to be Faith and Goldstein in this one. And basically, I'll explain it out now. We had the #1 contender tournament. And of course, in the semi-finals of that tournament, Ozzie Goldstein managed to beat Maddie Faith. Essentially, I guess he was kind of the catalyst for the whole Angry Gilmore victory in that retirement match at the pay-per-view. Faith, he lost a lot of momentum with that. And as a result, ended up losing that pay-per-view match. Albeit still super over and looking to try and get back onto winning terms this month. So yeah, let's book the show. I thought about the storylines, but I have not thought about a main event tonight. All right, let's go with a stable match. Let's go with a stable match. I want to have... Yeah, we'll do it this way. So let's have We're going to have Aldous Blackfriar, Mutant, and Zombie Boy. And they're going to take on Logan Wolfsbane and the Golden Goats, I think. Yeah, I think we'll go the Golden Goats. Should be a really good match on paper. But basically, the thought process behind this is Logan looks for some sort of backup that he can get, and as a result, we are going to give the victory to Davis, essentially continuing his sort of rise back up to where he used to be as the GOAT. This should be a really good match, though. A little bit worried about Zeus's stamina. Let's drop it down to 16. It's probably not going to do anything. He'll probably... Actually, you know what? He's going to get penalized for it being 16 anyway, so I may as well just drop it. Boost it back up to 20. Alright, so I need a Maddie Faith match, I think, up next. Just something for him to get his momentum back a little bit. Maybe Masked Patriot. I mean, Patriot, he is kind of that run-of-the-mill mid-carder that is very, very talented, but probably not going to be doing too much. Similar to like a Graham Gorman, if you will. So yeah, Patriot taking on Maddie Faith. Just a nice, easy 12-minute match. And as you'd expect, Faith getting the victory there as well. Alright, that's good to go. Now, we want to kick off the LA Stars with some momentum as well. So I think what I want to do, because we're not really going to be using Marco Gonzalez anymore, it's worth mentioning that I did look at his skills and he does indeed have 69. This was sort of a something that was raised in the comments of the last episode. And funnily enough, I actually managed to remember that he did indeed have 69 basics, which is pretty funny because I tend to forget quite a bit. Anyway, they will be taking on the crew, not the crew, the LA Stars. The crew are heavily involved elsewhere. I'm not sure which is the one that has lower popularity. LA Star 1. Okay. So I want to give LA Star 1 a few victories throughout the course of this month. Just want to try and boost his pop-up a little bit. Can these guys talk? They can actually talk. Or at least he can. And he can't. That's okay. That's okay. At least one of them can talk. So we could have angles. Which I definitely like. Alright, so up next, I think we want to have... Let's have Kavanaugh and Public Enemy teaming up. I guess they can maybe verse Willie LaRue and Uterus Sono, because we don't really use those guys, and it'd be nice to actually get them onto TV, even though it's going to be a losing effort. But yeah, Kavanaugh and Public Enemy. And I guess we'll... Oh, they have poor chemistry. Oh, that's the whole storyline. That's pretty frustrating. Alright, instead of doing that, let's have Papa Swole and Kavanaugh teaming up. And then I actually want to maybe put them against someone pretty good. So I guess Young and Wasted would make a decent bit of sense. So we'll whack them in the match. The thing is, I actually want Kavanaugh to lose for the purpose of the storyline. So I guess we'll try and do that. Try and keep him strong. Because I'm assuming he's not going to want to lose. Yeah, let's make it Tainted, actually. And we'll have an outside interference finish as well. Onto Kavanaugh by Mobster. Alright, so that'll be our finish. But let's have a look. Okay, so he's extremely unhappy, but will keep strong work. No, okay. Okay, we can book around this. We can book around this. Alright, so the loser will be Papa Swole then. We don't really have to book that, to be honest, but what I'll do is I'll change the interference just to a normal interference during the match by Mobstar. So I feel like that'll fit just a little bit better and just, I guess, make things... at least keep the storyline play that I wanted to do sort of intact. Alright, up next, I think we need a Matt Hocking match as well. Let's have Hocking take on Zach Powerson, I think. Just again, to give Powerson some more ring time, especially TV time, I think I don't actually think it does anything in the game. I think a pre-show match is exactly the same as a TV match, but obviously not in terms of popularity. So yeah, scripted, decisive, and I'm assuming we'll do something with Gary Walker coming out there. All right, so I think that's looking pretty good actually. That's kind of everything I needed on this first show at least. Let's have Logan cutting a promo onto Aldis this time, with Aldis off screen. So obviously Logan's team coming out first. But Logan says that he wants his revenge for the loss at the pay-per-view. Essentially saying that, he feels that, he should have done better. And obviously, he never actually... It was a good suggestion in the comments of the last episode, the fact that he wouldn't actually tap out to Aldis's submission. And there was basically a referee stoppage from the Batwing. And because we kept Logan strong in the match. So basically, keeping him strong would probably show a similar thing to, I guess a recent example would be Jon Moxley choking out Eddie Kingston on Dynamite. Essentially, he said that he never actually gave up, even though he did lose that I Quit match. Sorry if you haven't seen it, spoilers, but it was a few days ago now. So yeah, gonna get to, I think, booking a Hell in a Cell type match for Logan and Aldis for the next main event. So looking forward to that. We also need a Maddie Faith angle coming out of this show as well. Onto Ozzie Goldstein. And again, he's essentially going for some revenge, even though, he lost to Angry Gilmore, and now he's kind of taken his frustration out onto Ozzie Goldstein, who, like I said, essentially beat him in the semi-final of that number one contender tournament. I think there was interference I'm pretty sure there was by Angry Gilmore. I might be wrong. I don't know if it was clean or if it was tainted. I think it was tainted, though. Because I think Faith... Yeah, if I remember correctly, Faith interfered in Gilmore's first round match, causing him to be eliminated. Faith won his first round match, went into the semi-final against Goldstein, and then we had Angry Gilmore cost him the match, sort of repaying the favor. I think that's exactly how I booked it. I'm pretty sure it is anyway. Now, the next thing I want to do is see if we can actually give the LA Stars an angle here. Again, only one of them is going to be rated on entertainment because they're just, well, the other one, number 2, is just not that good on the microphone with his entertainment stats. So we'll do that. We just need to try and get their popularity up. Obviously, number 2 has pretty good popularity, but number 1 is really struggling. I then want to have Gary Walker come out and cut a promo onto Hocking prior to the start of his match. So he will be on screen. And this should kick off our Push for Canada, the Canadian title storyline as well. And then we will start the show off with the Crew and Young and Wasted. And I think we might actually go for Kavanaugh here. Actually, we'll go all 3. We'll go all 3. We'll chuck our Public Enemy in there as well. Unfortunately, they do have to be unscripted, so Actually, you know what? Let's have Mobster off screen as well. And basically it'll be Kavanaugh and Papa Swole more or less just talking about Swole's relationship with Mobster. The fact that, you know, Kavanaugh isn't too happy about it at all. So there we go. Gonna add a few extra minutes here and there to matches that I think kind of deserve it, I guess. And I mean, that looks pretty good. Let's run with that show. We'll book a pre-show match or two here. Let's go a 6-man. Let's just have Brody. I think I want to keep Brody to the pre-show for most of this month. Let's have Brody, Graham, and Angry Gilmore. And they can take on guys like Willie LaRue. Chip Martin can be in there as well. There was a call to actually try and push Chip Martin, which I think would be pretty interesting. I might chuck in Charlie Corner there as well, just to potentially, you know, pick up a thing or two in this match. Let's actually give Brody the win. I'm not sure about his momentum, but I would like to try and get it as high as we possibly can. To find out his momentum there, am I? Let's have a quick look. So, Giant Brody is white hot. Okay, well, he doesn't really need it then. In that case, I'll give it to, like, Graham Gorman, I think. We were kind of talking about putting Graham and Giant Brody together, like Big and Little, or something like that. We'll have to wait and see if we actually do decide to actually do that. But the other pre-show match, let's just have... let's have the Moneymakers take on Jack Pride and Osono. I mean, it's just two guys that we don't really use that still kind of need some extra attention. Give Stevie P the victory there as well. All right, obviously non-title on the pre-show. So there we go. Let's run the show. We start off with a 72 rated tag team match with the Moneymakers defeating Primetime Jack Pride and Yuta Osono in 11:48, and Stephen Parker pinned Primetime Jack Pride with a Future Shock. Then we had Jack Pride being the weak link there, and of course he was really off his game to sort of just rub it in my face a little bit. Anyway, second pre-show match. Not as good, which is interesting, but again, probably worse, sort of younger workers. We get a 65 here for this 6-man tag. We have Giant Brody, Angry Gilmore, and Graham Gorman defeating Willie LaRue, Chip Martin, and Charlie Corner in 12:03. And Graham Gorman pinned Chip Martin with a Gorman Aghast. And then Chip was the weak link in this one. And we also had Charlie Corner off his game. So, yeah, some inconsistency there from a few guys on the pre-show. Not great, but it is what it is. All right, we then kick off the show with a relatively bad angle, actually. It's a slow start to this Fracture in the Crew storyline. We get a 53. Yikes. As you can see, Kavanaugh actually was the standout, using the, freedom improvised to his advantage. But then we had Papa Swole struggling, going off script, and then Public Enemy was very poor trying to improvise dialogue. So Papa Swole, he's so annoying because he literally will not let me do an angle scripted with him involved in it. Just frustrating. All right, we then go into the Crew's match where we get a 68 rating. We have Young and Wasted pulling off a bit of an upset, defeating Mighty Kavanaugh and Papa Swole in 14:28. And Taylor Norton pinned Mighty Kavanaugh with a tumbleweed splash following interference from Mobster. And of course, we had Mobster coming in and attacking Mighty Kavanaugh. Interesting start. Kavanaugh essentially targeted him, of course, in the angle, like I previously mentioned. Kavanaugh was essentially confronting Papa Swole about Mobster. So Mobster essentially coming out to stop the, the crap talking by Kavanaugh and, sticking up for his boy Papa Swole there. Although, he actually took the loss. Oh, that's perfect. That's actually hilarious. Okay, perfect. We then go into a 76 rated angle here where we have Gary Walker coming out, confronting Matt Hocking prior to Hocking's match. Essentially saying that, he wants Hocking to be his next competitor, and he's looking forward to seeing what Hocking can do over the next few weeks if he decides to accept the challenge. So interesting that, Gary Walker, being the champion, actually coming out and challenging Hocking, who hasn't really done anything recently, so might be a bit of a weird choice for Gary Walker there. But as you can see, he enjoyed having the freedom to go off script. It's a solid angle, but I feel like he can just do better. If we get him a little bit more popularity, his angles will be sort of in the 80s, 85s, somewhere around there. So hopefully the mid-card title will do him justice over the next month or two. Then go into Hocking's match, getting a 64 here, where we have Hocking defeating Zach Powerson in 11:52 by pinfall with a Hock shock. And then Hocking getting a 66 in-ring. Not terrible. It's actually pretty good. He is very good in the ring, should be said. Essentially the reason why I put Powerson in this match. All right, we then go into another pretty low angle, but this time kind of understandable. We get a 54 here for the angle with the LA Stars. Basically, they say that they want to come in like a house on fire. They haven't been too impressive in their first month, but now they really want to kick things into gear and prove to everyone that they are indeed stars. And as you can see, LA Star 1 improvising well. So luckily he did, because it would have been even lower. All right, their match actually does pretty well. A bit better than I thought it would, to be honest. I thought it might have got like a 45, so a 59 here in this tag match is very surprising. We do indeed have the LA Stars defeating Los Hermanos 3, 12:02 when LA Star 1 pinned Ray Caballero with a double stomp. And then Ray was the weak link, and Ray Caballero was also off his game. Unfortunate, but it's Ray Caballero. He seems to do that quite often, really. Not gonna lie. I feel like that does come up. All right, we then go into the Gilmore Effect, a 100 rated angle for Maddie Faith, and Maddie, taking a page out of Gilmore's book, is pretty angry. He says that his recent bad results are a direct result of his loss against Goldstein in the semi-final of the number 1 contender tournament. And albeit he's already beaten Gilmore twice, so he says he doesn't need to beat Gilmore anymore, but he wants to get some revenge on Ozzie Goldstein. 100 for Maddie Faith, Mr. 100 we'll call him if he keeps it up. But yeah, improvising well with his segment here. We move on to his match, which is very, very good. We get an 88 rated match here. We have Maddie Faith defeating Masked Patriot in 14:15 by pinfall with a leap of faith. Wow. As you can see, there's a good reason for it. Maddie Faith and Masked Patriot have great chemistry together. So this could potentially be a storyline for us in the future at some stage, because it's almost guaranteed to get a pretty good rating. So yeah, I like that. And of course, Patriot's got a hot new move. Solid 84 in-ring there from Maddie Faith as well. Very impressive stuff. All right. We then go into... That's interesting. That's unexpected. We then go into a 97 rated angle from Logan Wolfsbane. This is by far his best angle he's done. Usually they're not even blue ratings. They're like between like 75 and maybe 84, somewhere around there. That's up there. Obviously, he gained a lot of popularity in that last month as well, even with the loss at the pay-per-view. Of course, we kept him strong, so he wasn't exactly going to lose any popularity. But we kick off this storyline, or we continue it, I guess. Because it was already there, but yeah, gaining some more heat. This time gaining heat from Logan, which I was kind of not using him in angles in that last month, due to the fact that I was worried he was going to sort of lose the heat from the storyline. And our main event doesn't do anywhere near as good as the Maddie Faith Mars Patriot match. And actually, it's a little bit lower than I thought it would be, to be honest. We get a 77 rated main event here, where we have Logan Wolfsbane and the Golden Goats defeating Forces of Darkness, of course, Aldous, Mutant, and Zombie Boy in 2030 when Davis submitted Zombie Boy with an STF. I mean, looking at this match, it's a little bit understandable. Obviously, Mutant isn't very over. Zombie Boy isn't very over. They're both sort of mid-card talents. Zeus these days, obviously massively in time decline. So, you know, we've probably got a few penalties here as a result as well. Got a penalty for poor announcing as well, which I think is interesting. Okay, well that would also explain a little bit as well. These two are involved in the tag division storyline now. And because we didn't end that storyline had about 65 heat or something like that. So we've gotten a penalty from that storyline, which is unfortunate, but doesn't really matter too much because they're obviously not going to be involved anymore in this sort of scenario. But it did affect that match rating. As you can see, the inconsistency from Mutant and Zeus. Zeus's declining physical ability. Good to see that he didn't actually get penalized for stamina there, despite it being a 20-minute match. And of course, we're now getting a penalty every single match, I believe, for our low experience with the announcing quality. Really unfortunate, but there's sort of no way around that. We have to try and build that back up again. We're lucky that we have very low, to be honest, because it would have none if we decided to take Lee Bambino out of there. Anyway, finish the show. It's still a pretty good one. As you can see, we get an 84 rating. And as you can see, we have no more sort of lack of increase in popularity in the US, which is perfect. But we only increased in 55 regions as a result of Ontario being 2 points lower than the actual show rating itself. So it is what it is. We're not going to be gaining, like I said, I was surprised that we managed to get up to 82. It's literally the fact that we had our best ever pay-per-view in that last episode boosted us up that extra point there. The pay-per-views, I mean, if we keep putting on really good pay-per-views, it's possible that we could still gain a few points here and there as well. But it's kind of unlikely. Anyway, we got a 1.79 TV rating this time for Coalition Wrestling. And of course, that was on our broadcast. We had 1.342 million. That's interesting. It looks like a lot more people are watching our TV show from our own broadcaster. Because as you can see, that's a really low viewership from Ondem. Like less than 100,000. Let's see if we can actually have a look at that in the history. Yeah, wow. Ondem is only 73,000. Okay. Well, I wonder actually if that's going to affect anything. I'm not sure if it does. I'm assuming we would still keep increasing in popularity in those other regions. I mean, Mexico's the only one that I really want to sort of keep an eye on. So, what do we start off in Mexico? We've already gained a point in Mexico in Noreste, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. But yeah, they've both gained a point. We're still yet to gain a point in those much lower regions. And of course, I think we need 3 with, was it 26 popularity to get onto a broadcaster in Mexico. So that'll be interesting, but we'll have to wait and see how long that's actually going to take. I did kind of have another idea in that last episode. I'm not sure if you heard it or you watched the last episode, but we could also invest into Mexico for our broadcaster ourselves. And in doing so, we would gain popularity faster, get a pay-per-view deal, and essentially make more money that way. Anyway, we got Blue Dragon here, wanting a little pay rise, $41. I'll give it to him. Still only 75% though. I've got tight purse strings on me. I'm not going to be giving anybody that I don't think really deserves a proper pay rise. And to be honest, he doesn't really deserve it. Kind of trying to think of new ideas in my head, especially with our masked wrestlers like LA Stars, Red, White, and Blue. I feel like we could try to maybe put them all together. Not 100% sure how I would go about it, to be honest, but it's a decent idea, I think. I had an idea in my head called the Masked Society. Not sure if we'll go with it as a stable, but it's an idea. Let me know what you guys think. The Masked Society. I kind of like the name, but I'm not 100% sure if I like the actual guys that we have. I kind of feel like the Masked Society would be a little bit more badass instead of having guys like Americana and Blue Dragon in there. LA Stars maybe could fit in there as sort of the tag team of the stable. But I would probably want like a bigger, maybe a bigger Mexican luchador to come in and to really sort of take the reins of that stable if we make it. If you guys think it is a decent idea. Anyway, I really want to try and get through these shows pretty quick. These episodes with the 3 TV shows, they've been dragging on a bit. Not dragging on, but they've been quite long. And I want to just try and shrink them down a little bit. Try and get them at least to an hour and a half maximum. Because I think the last 2 have both been over an hour and 45 minutes. I know you guys probably enjoy the much longer episodes. I know a lot of you guys kind of watch the series as you guys play, TEW yourselves. Anyway, we've still got Black Maple offering contracts. You know what I think it's time to do? I think it's time that we ended the war. Okay, never mind. They've declined our proposal to end the war. All right, so we've ended our I guess distaste for them, and I guess they've now declared war on us. It's really interesting looking at this screen, because as you can see, it says they have a mildly positive opinion of us. We have an extremely negative opinion of them. Interesting. I mean, it is what it is. I want to try and end that so our workers could actually go and work for them at least once a month. Guys like Charlie Corner and whoever else they wanted. Who was it? Zippy. Yeah, Zippy and Charlie. Like, those 2 in particular would be perfect. Pepper Pelton would be another one to go and hopefully do something. Unfortunately, Jack DeColt's contract was up, but I mean, 38 stamina. 46 is still wrestling as well. Interesting. How can we offer him a contract? Oh, it's exclusive. Oh. Typical AuspiciousAussie fashion. Literally me not reading exactly what's going on. Anyway. US Pro, Texas Pete. No, thank you. We'll swiftly move on and get into the second show here. Now, I think what I want to do, especially with the Logan Aldis storyline, is I want to have Logan take on Zombie Boy on this show, and then I think I want him to have another rematch with Mutant on the next show. So I think let's go to Hamilton for this one. There's nothing else we really need to do there. Now the thing is, do I go a main event of Logan Wolfsbane and Zombie Boy? It has the potential to be really good. But I'm also a little bit worried. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to put some faith into Zombie Boy. It might come back and backfire, bite me in the backside, if you will. You know what? I'm going to give it to him. He's got stamina. He doesn't have the best psychology in the world. He is relatively over. If we look at his popularity, 52 is decent for a mid-carder. Let's just go for it. Let's go for it. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. All right, up next, we're going to have the Moneymakers be involved in a tag match. So let's go the Moneymakers. They can take on, I guess they can take on the Northern Lights just to get those guys on TV again. Because their popularity is still really, really low. I know continually giving them losses is probably not the best way to go about getting them better popularity. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to put them over anybody else, really. Any of our other established teams. I guess Red, White, and Blue. But then it'll be like a jobber versus jobber team scenario. At least sort of based on who's actually involved. Obviously, non-title match there as well. Let's have another Matt Hocking match. This time he can take on Graham Gorman. Actually, no, he can take on Mutant. Yeah. This will be a good way of doing this match. So Mutant's going to get the victory. We're going to have an outside interference as well. So it'll be tainted. Outside interference finish on Hocking by, obviously, Gary Walker. So Walker's going to get involved, cost him a match, and that's really going to continue their storyline. Almost kick-start it into gear as to why Gary's, trying to target him. Up next, I think let's go Mobstar and Public Enemy. Because at the moment, it appears that Public Enemy has Mighty Kavanaugh's back. Doesn't really see too much of an appeal, even though Mobstar is the current Unified World Champion. Doesn't see the same sort of appeal or friendship, perhaps, that Papa Swole sees. So, gonna have a match. Obviously, Mobstar's gonna get the victory there as well. And of course, it's also going to be non-title. All right, up next, we're going to have a 8-man tag. And we're going to have Maddie, Faith, and well, we're going to have Faith No More. All members of Faith No More. And they're going to take on a team consisting of, I guess, Ozzie Goldstein's choosing, if you will. We'll chuck the Rock City Stars in there as well. And then let's see who we can throw into this match. Obviously, Goldstein's going to be in there. I mean, realistically, we might just go with the Frat Pack. Yeah, let's go with the Frat Pack. That kind of seems like the best option for us to go with. So Cooper, Jack, and Zach down the bottom there. We can make this our storytelling match as well. But let's have Maddie, Faith get the victory. Hopefully, actually, let's make the loser. Let's make the loser Cooper. Actually, I don't want Zach taking too many losses here. It will need to be scripted, of course, as well. But there we go. Part of me maybe wants to keep Goldstein strong. You know what? I actually will do it. Just want to make sure he doesn't lose any pop, even at the risk of the match doing it just that little bit worse. Because I really want him and Faith to have another solid match. If we go back to the history, it was, yeah, an 88 rated match. So there is a lot of potential there. A lot of potential. Which I really like the look of this this revenge rematch taking place. That actually looks like a pretty good show. I think I want to have Mobstar kick us off again. Let's actually have Mobstar cut an angle onto Public Enemy. It's not exactly a will you join me type scenario that he's kind of saying. I'll try and explain it a bit better once we get into the show here, but it's going to sort of focus around that sort of premise. Up next, let's just go a Faith No More angle with everyone rated. So Maddie, Faith, Charlie Corner can be in there. Still trying to, I guess, improve his entertainment stats. But Rock and Ryan Turner and Stan Manor. We will script everybody just to be safe. Of course, it is there is no storyline attached as well, so that's perfectly fine. There we go. Looking forward to this 8-man tag, actually. I think it looks pretty decent on paper. Then let's have Hocking. We want Hocking to, I guess, kind of clap back a little bit towards Gary Walker, which I guess will be the catalyst for his interference in the match. I kind of like this storyline between Hocking. It's kind of come out of nowhere, but it's actually seeming to kind of take place pretty well in storyline purposes. And then I guess let's have the Moneymakers. And I'm gonna type in this angle a little bit as well. All right, so we're gonna have Moneymakers issue triple threat #1 contenders match next week. So we're gonna have a triple threat tag team match to determine our new #1 contenders on the next show. Of course, we already know who they are, so spoilers, but it is the LA Stars. We might even throw in the Northern Lights in that match as well. See if we can just boost them up a little bit more in their popularity. I might not even make them take the loss. We'll see how we go, but there's that angle there. And then finally, I want another Logan angle. He can just be by himself on this one. See if it matches up to what he did on that last show. And then finally, we will do one angle to end the show, which is going to be from Aldous onto Logan. And this will be, type this one in as well. Yeah, his match with Logan Wolfsbane will be inside Hell in a Cell. There we go. I like it. Perfect. And again, we'll advance the same storyline there. Emergence of Logan Wolfsbane. We're over a little bit, but that's perfectly fine. I'll reduce a little bit of time somewhere. So that was going to go on last. All right, so let me take 2 minutes off this one. I think we also need a storytelling match as well. Yeah. I guess we're actually going to have to take Public Enemy. Actually, you know what? Let's reduce that to 6. Does that change anything? Not really. Let's drop this down to 8, maybe. And that should work. Yeah, slightly overused. Okay. Assuming if I put that back up to 8, it's going to give us another penalty. Yes, okay. All right, we'll put the time elsewhere. We can actually give this one 2 extra minutes, I think. We'll make this one our storytelling match as well. And we should be good to go. We might actually give this one a little bit of extra time. How much time do I have left? 3 minutes? You know what? Let's give all 3 minutes to this one. I actually want them to go all out as well. Let's see what happens with an all out. I mean, 15. Let's go 14 all out, because stamina might actually be an issue going all out for 15. That looks pretty good though. I like that show. I really like it. Pre-show stuff. Again, we'll just have Gilmore team up with maybe Bowden Snoop. Of course, he's our former tag team, or former, well, still current protege mentor. And they can take on maybe Los Hermanos 2. What's the worst pairing of what we have? Try and get Ray up a little bit more. You know what? Let's actually give Bowden the victory. Poor Bowden. He's got chilly momentum or ice cold momentum. Feel a bit sorry for him. We need, I guess we'll go Doc for this one. We'll go another pre-show match. Again, just a bit of a 6-man, I guess. We haven't really done anything for Young and Wasted and the Golden Goats. Let's do this. Let's do like a 4v4, but we'll do all tag teams. So let's have the Golden Goats and the LA Stars taking on Young and Wasted and Red, White, and Blue. Actually, you know what? Instead of them, let's go Brody and Gorman, because we're thinking about making them a team. So 12 minutes pre-show, and I guess we'll give the victory to Davis yet again, continuing his strong rise back up to the top. And would like someone decent to road agent that one. All right, there we go. Let's run this show. All right, we start off with a 55 rated match where we have Angry Gilmore and Bowden Snoop defeating Los Hermanos 2 in 12:07, when Bowden Snoop pinned Ray Cavalero with a Snoop Dogg. Got a nice finisher there, Bowden Snoop. Obviously, Angry carrying the match, and unfortunately, Bowden Snoop seemed off his game. A little bit unfortunate, but, you know, he does have that ice-cold momentum, so probably can't really judge him too much. All right, we then go to a 78 rated pre-show match, big 8-man tag, where we have the Golden Goats and the LA Stars beating Big and Little and Young and Wasted in 11:42, when Davis Wayne Newton pinned Taylor Norton with a fisherman's suplex. And we have Davis being head and shoulders above everybody else in the match, obviously with a 90 in-ring. All right, we then kick off the show with an 86 rated angle with our current Unified World Champion Mobstar. And of course, like I said, he essentially tries to win over Public Enemy, and it doesn't really go down. Public Enemy says, you know, I've still got Kavanaugh's back. I'm not gonna. Well, he's not actually speaking in the angle, but you know, let's pretend he is speaking in the angle. He says he's got Kavanaugh's back. He's not going to turn his back or betray his brother. And yeah, says Papa Swole, you know, he's got it all wrong, trying to be friends with you when you are clearly trying to take over the leadership of the crew. So yeah, Public Enemy kind of throwing out some big claims there about Mobstar trying to take over the crew. But unfortunately, in the angle, Mobstar was very poor, trying to improvise. Still actually managing to do well, though, getting an 86. All right, their match together. Yeah, I kind of expected it to be pretty good with Mobstar carrying the match. We get a 78 rating here, and we have Mobstar defeating Public Enemy in 8:07. So a very short match by pinfall with a flattener DDT and a solid enough 89 in-ring there from Mobstar. Usually pretty prone to get a 90 or above, so not terrible. All right, we then move into a Faith No More angle. Only getting a 67, which is understandable and I guess a little bit predictable. I was kind of hoping that Maddie Faith might be able to do a bit of a miracle and boost that up to an 80. But that's to be expected with these other three guys involved, especially Charlie. But as you can see, the performance of Maddie Faith was fantastic. All right, we then go into another 8-man tag on the show. This one, obviously, on the actual TV show. We get a 72. I was about to 78 was the first match. 72 for this one here. We have Faith No More defeating Ozzie Goldstein and the Frat Pack, of course, Cooper, Jack, and Zach. In 11:48, when Maddie Faith pinned Cooper Christie with a Faith Falls Eternal. Really like that finisher name. I feel like it's kind of a little bit better than a Leap of Faith. Pretty cool, yeah. And of course, Faith head and shoulders above everybody else. And our boy Zach being the weak link. And once again, Charlie Corner seemed off his game. Charlie likes to be off his game. He likes to be inconsistent. Assuming that he was inconsistent. Yeah, Charlie Corner, inconsistency. And yeah, inconsistency there for Goldstein as well. And then both Cooper and Zach for their terrible gimmicks. Have to change those. We might actually be able to change them now, so I'll have a look at that once we finish the show. All right, we then go into a Matt Hocking angle, getting a 68 here, where he addresses Gary Walker, essentially accepts his challenge, and like I said, claps back, says, you know, it's not good to be cocky, Gary. It's not good to be cocky, especially when you are offering someone that could easily take away that Canadian title from you. And, you know, Hocking says that he's looking to do that, and he thinks he has what it takes to be the next Canadian champion. All right, we go into an 80 rated match here, which I guess the all-out road agent note really did wonders with this one. As you can see, an 80 rating, and they only have a 67 and a 71 in-ring performance from both these guys. But we do indeed have Mutant defeating Matt Hocking in 14-18 by pinfall with the Tina Turner. Following interference from Gary Walker, Gary getting involved, costing Hocking the match, hitting him with the pants pull sunset flip in the ring, and then allowing Mutant to hit the Tina Turner. It's a good match, really good match. I'm going to assume that they're both probably going to gain some popularity from that, or at least hopefully a little bit with Mutant, you know, hopefully picking up most of it, albeit it was a tainted victory. All right, we then go into a 74 rated angle with the Moneymakers, and they issue a triple threat #1 contenders match for next week. And like I said, it's probably going to be, I think, the LA Stars. Actually, this is a good way of booking it. Let's go the LA Stars, the Northern Lights, and Young and Wasted. And what I'll do, we can do some shenanigans by the Golden Goats to essentially cost Young and Wasted that match. I feel like that could be pretty good. But as you can see here, what is not good is both Jackpot and Steven, you know, struggling without a script to follow. So both of them picking up a penalty. Luckily, it still actually did a 74. So, you know, if they both got positives, that one would be pretty interesting. It could be, you know, in the 85s, really. All right, we then go into their match, which gets a 71, which is pretty surprising considering the Northern Lights both have 18 popularity. But we do indeed have the Moneymakers defeating the Northern Lights in 11:47 when Jackpot pinned Riddick Jordan with a Make It Rain. And of course, the Moneymakers, they look pretty impressed at the Northern Lights. So that's essentially the reason why the Northern Lights are going to go into that triple threat. And of course, you know, the Moneymakers, they've already beaten them. So they think if the Northern Lights somehow pulled off the victory, that the Moneymakers would be able to get another title defense under their belt. Pretty sneaky, but also pretty fair. It's a good match. It's a good match. All right, we then go into a 92 rated angle. This one by himself. A little bit lower, but I think that's because he wasn't cutting it onto Aldous, so it hasn't actually advanced a storyline. So it's going to be a slightly lower rating compared to that 97 he got, but still a 92. As long as he can stay, you know, consistent with those sorts of ratings, I think we should be pretty good. As you can see, enjoying the freedom off script, and basically he says that he's going to try and break Zombie Boy's neck in this main event. And like I said, you know, he's still trying to get that revenge from Mutant breaking James Diaz's neck at the behest of Aldous Blackfriar, the dark occult leader. The main event actually does better than I thought it would. We get an 84 rated match, 1 point away from that 85 and the blue rating there. So I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I didn't think it would actually do this well. We do indeed have Logan Wolfsbane defeating Zombie Boy in 20 minutes, 19 seconds. Let's say by pinfall with a pile driver. And let's just say that it was a pretty dirty pile driver. Essentially dropping Zombie Boy right on his neck. Like I said, trying to get that revenge. And he will be taking on Mutant in our final TV show of the episode. As you can see, once again, we deserved better announcing. It's unfortunate that that's still coming up despite... See, I'm starting to wonder if that is actually Lee Bambino. Because he's still in the 70s. He's like 72, I think, announcing. And then we have Jurian, who's 80. He might even be above 80 now. And then, of course, the color commentary is now 82, I think, from Tom Townsend. So I'm kind of thinking that that might be Lee Bambino. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much. We've got one more angle left on the show here. And we get a really solid rating to finish us off with this angle. We get a 99. And we have Aldous Blackfriar announcing his match at the next pay-per-view against Logan Wolfsbane will be inside Hell in a Cell. So the big, steel structure going to be put up. And these two men are going to be locked inside. And it's interesting that Aldous would be the one to actually, declare this match or announce it, seeing as he is the one that is kind of more inclined to sort of get that, allied interference with Mutant and with, I guess, Zombie Boy to a lesser extent as well. Anyway, as you can see, Aldous doing what he does best, masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd. Great stuff from him. And a really solid show. This one was much better than that first show. And as you can see, we get an 87 overall rating here. Great stuff. And as you can see, that's actually, once again, increased our popularity in Ontario as well with the 87. So, looks like if we can get an 87 or above, we'll be pretty good to keep improving in popularity in Ontario and potentially go up to 83 even, which would be pretty impressive. And I kind of feel like it's a little unlikely, but if we have a good pay-per-view, it might happen after the pay-per-view. We'll have to wait and see. We actually got the top article. I don't think we've ever done that before. I'm pretty sure that might be the first time. And CWA, we beat... did we? No way. It looks like we might have potentially beaten CWA for the first time ever on our TV show. Obviously, I haven't really kept a close eye on things in that sort of regard, but I don't ever remember us being the number one article. I mean, their main event, a lot of their matches are obviously a lot better than ours, but it seems like our angles are really pushing us above where we need to be. And I'm kind of thinking that the 8-minute angles, while they're not exactly realistic, I feel like they are kind of benefiting us a little bit more by giving our, main eventers that real time to speak, basically. Anyway, we've got something very interesting here. We've got Mainstream Hernandez. And yeah, I think we looked at potentially signing him back in the day, and I didn't do it. He's in time decline. But the question is, do we bring him in anyway? He's not actually being renegotiated with SWF. And he would actually be relatively cheap as well. A 3-year contract is, I want to save a template because I don't want to have another issue where we offer a written contract. That's pretty cheap, man. I'm going to go in for him. think we kind of have to. I feel like, at the very least, he would be an amazing leader of a stable. His entertainment stats and his star quality is unreal. So even if he does continue to really deteriorate, the next 3 years, I mean, can't really go wrong at this price as well. 24,000 for mainstream Hernandez. I know his popularity is only 57, but surely I can get that up to about 70, even 80 maybe, in like 2 or 3 months once he comes in. Anyway, TV ratings even higher. We're up to 1.84. So 1.384 million viewers on the network, the Coalition network. And again, only like a measly 58,000. 58,000 for Ondem. When you think about, I think we used to do like 400,000 with Ondem. Anyway, popularity is starting to get up there. We're literally only 10 points away from having 77 in Manitoba. We're only 8 away in Quebec. Obviously, Alberta and Saskatchewan, they're getting up there. They are. They're improving quite a bit. But they're still, quite a ways off. I mean, we're 30 points away in Alberta, which is a bit of a worry. See, I'm not sure, part of me would want to start touring and running our shows out of Alberta and Saskatchewan. But I feel like it's probably more beneficial for us to continue to run in Ontario. Maybe we could throw in the occasional Quebec or Manitoba show once a month. Don't know if it'll do anything. Probably not. Probably better off just staying in Ontario for the finances. But use the finances that we have, that we gain from having the 14, 15,000 per TV show and the 53,000 that we get for the pay-per-views. Using all that money, that profit, to continue to upgrade our broadcaster. Because it seems like the broadcaster, along with our pay-per-view deals, is essentially going to be the big moneymaker for us. As you can see, our broadcast revenue has just massively, massively shot up to a ridiculous point where it's now actually beating our pay-per-view revenue. So, I don't know. At this point, it kind of seems like continuing to upgrade broadcast revenue, and then hopefully we'll gain better pay-per-view deals as a result of that as well. And of course, we're still getting the same, or roughly the same, pay-per-view buys anyway. So we're essentially not losing any pay-per-view money with a broadcaster that we have currently. So I feel like that's massive. And that's a really good thing to kind of point out to you guys. And it's kind of my thought process. Instead of touring to Alberta, we can get the money required, upgrade our broadcaster to very big in Canada. As a result, that's just going to cause a higher level of viewers, which in turn is also going to add to potentially faster popularity in the regions. Of course, with a better wrestling industry, we of course gain more points of popularity per show. Or I guess more decimal points. Anyway, exciting news. Our first dojo graduate. Interesting. It's been 1 year. 1 full year since we created our dojo. And this is our first refusal contract opportunity with our recent graduate, Severin Garner. Yeah, Garner. Before we sign him, let's take a look at him. He's got a bully personality. That is perfect. That's actually terrible. Why does he have to be a bully? He's a bulky super heavyweight, but you know what? He doesn't actually look that good anyway. So I don't think we're really losing anything all that special. We're going to decline. Goodbye. Goodbye. All right, what else have we got? Rodney Rush from the CZCW dojo, by the looks of it. You know what? He's really talented. Do I want to steal Rodney Rush away? I like his name. Rodney Rush. 80 technical ability, 73 aerial, 73 flashiness. And he's got a badass name. He's got 90 menace as well. Very strange. But he's also got 68 star quality, which is not terrible. Really good athleticism, really good power as well. So he's a strong guy. I mean, he's a bulky middleweight, so he's only relatively small. He's only actually my height in real life, 6'1". You know what? We probably nearly weigh the same. It's kind of a joke. I think at the moment, I think in real life, I weigh about, what, 95, 96 kilos, something like that. So that's what, like 220 pounds, maybe? Something like that. I don't know. Maybe a little bit less than 220. But yeah. Should we go for him? Let's just go for him. You know what? We'll take someone away from CZCW that's actually a decent talent. So let's sign him up to a 10-year contract as well. And we'll see if CZCW can actually come in with a sort of comeback offer. All right, there we go. Did I do no cover? Yeah, perfect. All right, he's got no popularity, but that's perfectly fine. Because we'll train him up. We'll train him up on the pre-show. See if he has any chemistry with anybody else, and we might be able to find a new tag team potentially for one of our other sort of jobbers. I would like to put him with Chip Martin. That could be a potential. Maybe guys like Jack Pride as well. I mean, Jack Pride and Rodney Rush kind of would sound like a pretty decent team. Rush Time. Oh, good name. Good name. I already like that name. All right, so he's already pretty much accepted our offer. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so they altered their deal, but I guess he really just couldn't care less. This guy's also pretty good. Lacking a little bit in the ring with the primaries, but I mean, he's got pretty good entertainment stats there as well. A little bit lower on the star quality. But yeah, he'll extend his deal there. We got another one here as well. Jose Starr. Maybe Jose, I don't know. He's an egomaniac though, so I guess we'll not worry about him too much. Anyway, let's keep advancing. Let's do 2 days at a time because I just want to make sure that we get mainstream Hernandez, and someone like US Pro or TCW is not going to come in at the last second and steal him away while we're processing through the game. I'm also going to take a sip of water because I haven't had any water, and we've already booked 2 shows in 1 hour and 12 minutes into the episode. Alrighty. Feeling a little bit better after that. Yeah, I think Hernandez is going to be really good. I've always been a big fan of him, but I've actually never used him. I was a fan of him back on TEW 2013, before I even started posting it to YouTube, way back in the day. And we got Chrissy Angel, or yeah, I guess it'll be Angel. She's a pretty good manager. She's very over as well. What do I want to do? The question is, do we need her? I don't think I need her. We already have Lucinda Lush. If I really need a manager, I could always just take her away from Cooper Christie somehow. Because she kind of does look like more of a heel. Kind of looks a little bit sinister in that picture there. So I think we'll leave it there. Doesn't really exactly fit with the frat pack, but I guess maybe one day she will have her turn or time to turn onto Cooper. Anyway, keep advancing. 2 more days, get into the show. Looking forward to potentially debuting mainstream Hernandez in 2 episodes' time. Still can't believe we're going to get a guy of that quality. I know he's in time decline and he's 38 years old, but he is like top-notch quality. Still 73 stamina as well. Probably 72 by the time we get him, so be a little bit unfortunate, but there we go. Mainstream Hernandez. I have no idea what I'm going to call this episode. We got the dojo graduate, which I guess was a bit of a flop, to be honest. Probably going to call it dojo graduate before we actually saw him. I guess it has to be signing mainstream Hernandez is probably the episode title, really. Can't exactly think of anything else. And I'm pretty sure I have next episode's title as well. Yeah. Looking forward to his debut, Mainstream Hernandez. Welcome to the Coalition. Albeit we're not going to see him for another sort of over 3 weeks. All right, we got another announcer here. We got Brock Cornish, who also has 80 announcing there as well. 30,000. He's actually got some decent popularity. Let me go take a look at something. Really wish that these guys could actually go and work for Black Maple. Let's have a look at our announcing team. So, as you can see, we've got the very low experience. Jurian's actually up to 81 now, so he has indeed gained a point. Lee, like I said, on 74. Probably the reason why that match got that announcing penalty, and then Tom Townsend with 82. Ideally, what I would like to do is potentially phase Lee Bambino out. So once they get back up to excellent chemistry together, I'll move Tom Townsend over. Essentially get rid of Lee Bambino. I guess we could keep him maybe as a backstage interviewer. Let's have a look at his stats. I know I'm rambling on. I said I wanted to keep this episode reasonably short, and we're not exactly doing that, are we? As you can see, I mean, his entertainment stats are pretty good. I could probably just use him on the microphone, though, because that's actually been increasing a little bit. If we just did Lee on the microphone, with 52 popularity, his interviews would actually be relatively good. Assuming Jurian actually has better... He has much better stats. They're so much better. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I guess we can keep him around. We don't need to. He's not an exclusive written contract or anything, but I don't know. I just feel like it would just be relatively nice, I guess. All right, what do we got? Cooper Christie lifting the locker room when he created a silly game that became very popular backstage. All right, can we do some meddling between Kavanaugh and Davis? Can we be successful? No, we can't. Okay. All right, for this show, we're going to go to Mississauga, as we, usually like to do for this third and final show of the episode. And our main event is once again going to feature Logan Wolfsbane, and it is going to be a big rematch against Mutant. No, it's not. You know what? Instead of doing Mutant, let's go Original Sinner. It won't be the main event. We'll have to come up with another main event. But we'll give this 12 minutes. If Sinner watches a move and injures Logan, I will freak out. I'll probably start slamming the desk. Do I protect him? That's the question. Do I protect him and try and make sure that he'll be safe in this match? I'm not going to. So I like to risk it. But if it happens, this desk is going to get pounded. And not in a good way. Alright. Please don't injure him. Please don't injure him. Okay. Alright, so now I need to think of a main event. Honestly, don't really know. One match I do want to do, let's have Papa... Actually, no, we'll save that for the Go Home show. Save that for the go home show, I think. But what I will like to do, or would like to do, is have LA Starr 2 take on. Oh no, what am I doing? Got to do the triple threat. Let me book that, and then we'll book the main event. So it is going to be the LA Stars taking on the Northern Lights, taking on Young and Wasted. Just 12 minutes, because that's all we can really do with the Northern Lights. And then LA Starr 1 will get the victory, and the losers will be Brett Kyle. And he's going to lose. I'm going to make it decisive. I'm going to make it tainted. It is outside interference finish. So Brett Kyle is going to be attacked by... Do I go Davis or do I go Zeus? Let's go Zeus. Yeah, we'll go Zeus for that one. Essentially costing Young Wasted the #1 contendership there. Alright, we need maybe a Goldstein. Maybe Goldstein could be in the main event. Actually, let's go Maddie Faith in the main event. I don't know who he's going to verse. That's sort of the only question. We do also have Rodney Rush. Rodney could make his debut here. Alright, what are we going to do? I wanted to go with Faith, but now that I'm looking at it, there's not exactly anyone for him to verse. That's going to be over enough. Maybe Graham Gorman. Actually, let's go Graham Gorman. In the main event. 20 minutes. I know I just did Hocking. Don't know why I did Hocking, but there we did. Yeah, we did. Okay, so Faith. There we go. Now, I think I want this one to be a draw. And I want to keep Maddie Faith strong. I'm not going to keep him strong, so he might lose a little bit of popularity. But this is going to be a... I guess it will be a DQ finish. And it's essentially the referee's just going to lose control of the match and essentially call it at the sort of 20-minute mark. So we'll call it slow build. I guess a decisive draw. I mean, is that even a thing? I don't know. So we're going to have interference onto Graham Gorman by Charlie Corner, Rock and Ryan Turner, and Stan Manor. So all three members, or all three other members of Faith No More. Then we're also going to have Maddie Faith be attacked by Ozzie Goldstein to finish off the show. We'll go Stones and we'll go Monton because it's going to be our main event. I think that's actually a pretty good main event because Graham's always, you know, a decent in-ring talent for us. All right, what else are we doing? I guess we could have another match for, I guess, the Golden Goats. They haven't actually been on TV. They can just take on the Rock City Stars. Why are they both annoyed? I need to go and have a look at that, because it was only Stan that was annoyed. Yes, did I leave them off the last show? No, I used them on the last show. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's a weird one. That's a weird one. Alright, so that'll go there. We don't really have a storytelling match, do we? Alright, we got one more match to book, really. Not really too sure what I want to do. Because I'm gonna save the crew storyline for the go home show. We actually haven't. I mean, we got Hocking and Gary Walker. Maybe we just go. Let's just go a 6-man tag, and then let's just throw both storylines together. I know it's pretty cheap way of doing things. But let's have Walker, Kavanaugh, and Public Enemy taking on Papa Swole, Mobstar, and who's the final member? Matt Hocking. There we go. Alright, so this one, obviously, going to be a victory for Mobstar's team. Really not looking good for Mighty Kavanaugh at all. But there we go. Alright, I guess this can be our storytelling, because I'm not really too fussed about it. Like I said, it's more or less just a thrown together match. We might actually even make this our work the crash. You know what? No. I'll have an angle. I think I want to have an angle for Mobstar and Papa Swole. Just try and give Papa Swole another little boost to his entertainment stats. And we'll give both of them a little bit of success, or I guess it'll be extra success considering what's going to happen at the pay-per-view as well. Because if you hadn't noticed, I'm not exactly going to have Mobstar lose to Kavanaugh. Not happening. Alright, so other angles. I think we go with the Moneymakers. So we'll go Jackpot. Actually, aren't they versing somebody? No. No, so yeah. Let's go with the Moneymakers again. So Jackpot and Stevie P. And this will just be them kind of putting themselves over. I'm going to script both of them after their failed angle last time as well. And hopefully that'll do a little bit better. Alright, so a little bit more success for them. We'll advance that storyline. But you know what? Let's put in all the other members that are going to take part. They'll be off screen because they won't be talked to, I guess. It makes sense. Oh, we can't. We can't do it because of the Northern Lights. I guess we can do some of them. So let's go with Brett, I guess. Just Brett and Taylor. We can't do the other two, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, that's gonna go before their match. Let's have an angle with Aldous. Mutant. Let's have an all members of Forces of Darkness angle. But just with Aldous speaking, because no one else is gonna speak when the dark occult leader is speaking. And he's essentially just going to give his directions to Original Sinner prior to the match. Which I think will do pretty well. Should hopefully be another solid or really solid rating. I'll go before Logan's match. Let's just go the gold. Actually, let's go Golden Goats onto Young and Wasted. Guess a bit of an explanation as to why they attack them. During their triple threat tag team match. I might script them as well. Actually, you know what? Unscripted. Put some faith in the boys. They are the Golden Goats after a pretty decent time together. So I'm going to put my faith in them, I believe. That'll advance that storyline, of course. They're going to be off screen. Alright, there we go. And then finally, let's have maybe Ozzie Goldstein cutting on to Maddie Faith. He probably doesn't need to be on screen either. So he wouldn't have come out for his match yet. Bit of revenge. That is number one, and my eyes were just not being attracted to it at all. Okay. That's the show. Another really good one, I think. I'm a little bit worried about the main event, but I think it actually will do okay. I think it will do okay. I think we can also give this 14 minutes and have them go all out as well. Because it seemed to do pretty well. And they both have morale issues as well. Let's actually go and have a look at that. So what's their problem exactly? So Rock and Ryan, why are you annoyed? Alright, so he's still annoyed at being left off Final Chapter. Although he's pleased at his recent booking. But I guess not pleased enough for him not to have morale issues. What is their stamina looking like? They're really dropping. I didn't really notice, but they are pretty old. And they've been in the company for a long time. A long, long time. We also didn't change the gimmicks. We'll have a look. Let's have a look while we're here as well. Can we prepare a change? We can. Okay, what is he good at? Is he good at anything? Realistic or underdog? Alright, I think underdog would be a pretty good gimmick for him, actually. Let's go generic creative, and then let's get some inspiration here. Weasley underdog. What have we got? I don't really like any of them. They're all kind of heel. They're not exactly... The underdog that I would expect is not what it is sort of in there. Also interesting that he lost 1 point on his basics recently. By being 99 for the entire year. Lovely. Seen time decline now as well? I mean, he lost 1 point from his stamina recently as well. Aye. Okay. So, what was his other skill that he was good at? He was good at realistic. Let's, we'll give him a realistic gimmick, I guess. Where are we? Search. And they all kind of look like they're a little bit heelish as well. And he is definitely not a heel. I guess Straight Edge would kind of be the only one that's even remotely not heel. Even a little bit. So I guess we'll just go Straight Edge. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So it was him, and I think it was just him and Zach. Yeah. What is Zach good at? Dominant and badass. Alright, dominant badass. Alright. Let's see what we can go with for him. I think we'll go dominant first, because he's like a big muscle man. I mean, strongman would kind of be good for him, but I think we just gave that to Papa Swole in the last episode. What was it? It was badass and dominant? Forgotten. Badass and dominant. What was the one? I can't even remember what the one I just chose. Let's have a look. Alright, so I did dominant. So badass. I mean, badass is probably more suited to him. He could literally just be a badass, I guess. Yeah, I mean, badass kind of seems like the only one that I can even possibly do for him. Alright, getting rid of his muscle-bound hero gimmick. What a ridiculous sort of narrative that is. He has gained a point in star quality, though. That's really good. Really good. The more star quality he gets, the better, you know, a figurehead he will become once we decide to push him. Anyway, so on the pre-show, we're going to do a little bit of pre-show stuff here as well. Let's have the debut of Rodney Rush. We'll have Rodney team up with, where is he? Chip Martin. Want to test their chemistry. I guess they can take on maybe Zach and Jack. And I guess this way we could actually give Zach a nice victory here to gain back a little bit of his momentum loss that he has suffered recently. That'll be decent. Yeah, Kavanaugh and Road Agent. See. Okay, next match. Let's go a 6-man. Let's get Brody in there. I want to keep using Brody. Don't know why, but I just do. Let's have Patriot in there as well, because he's got cool momentum, as you can see. I guess they can maybe take on a bit of a jobber team, just to try and improve them up a little bit more. I want to keep... The thing with Charlie is, I want to keep using him to keep sort of developing his skills. But at the same time, I don't want him to keep taking losses. Because he is kind of a decent member of Faith No More, so... It's a tough one. It's a tough one. And I guess Blue Dragon can be the final member of that team. Let's just throw Goldstein onto this team as well. Not really doing anything with Goldstein, so get him there, get him a victory. Actually, no, let's go Patriot for the victory. Try and get that momentum back as well. Alright, that should be a pretty good pre-show match. 12 minutes, yep. Have that one go on second, and let's run the final show of the episode. Alright, so we start off with a 46 rated match. We have Jack Jackson and Zach Powerson defeating Rodney Rush and Chip Martin at 11:47, and Zach Powerson pinned Rodney Rush with a press power slam. Alright, that's not a bad one. We got Rodney Rush debuting his blue-collar gimmick, getting an initial rating of great. That's perfect. You know, we don't want any more of these awful gimmick ratings. And of course, speaking of that, let's handle these changes as well. And there we go. Zach Powerson is now using a badass gimmick, and it received an initial rating of great, and is likely to rise. And he also gets a small boost to microphone skill during angles, and a little penalty losing in comedy to a comedy gimmick. But I don't think we have any of those. Maybe Gary Walker, but I'm not sure. And then actually, let's check Ronnie Rush as well. So he's got an extremely marketable gimmick and will sell far more merchandise. And he'll also be penalized losing to a comedy gimmick. Perfect. Like literally the best two sort of gimmick pros that I could have asked for. And I guess the best two cons as well. Alright, we then go into our 6-man tag pre-show, getting a 68 rating here, where we have Giant Brody, Masked Patriot, and Ozzie Goldstein, beating Blue Dragon, Charlie Corner, and Zippy Deverell in 11:47, when we had Masked Patriot pin Blue Dragon with a Patriot slam. Good stuff there. Maybe Patriot could be the leader of that stable that I was talking about earlier. The Masked Society. Could be decent. He could take Blue Dragon under his wing, maybe. Unintended, of course. With his wings on his ears. Anyway, it's a good pre-show match. Happy with that. Alright, we then start the show off, or the TV show off, with an 81 rated angle. This one from Mobstar. And of course, he's talking to Papa Swole, essentially saying, you know, it doesn't matter what's sort of going on recently with Mighty Kavanaugh and Public Enemy. You know, he's got his back, and he wants to know that Papa Swole has his back, and that he's not going to turn on him at the pay-per-view and realign himself. Papa Swole kind of says, you know, I got your back. I got your back. Not exactly sort of massively convincing, but he does say the right things, if that makes sense. And as you can see, once again, Mobstar not doing well without a script to follow, but luckily Papa Swole doing a masterful job of improvising interactions. So, happy for Papa Swole. Also getting better at his gimmick as well. Of course, we just gave him that gimmick in that last episode. So hopefully that adequate rating will go up a little bit. Great would be perfect. Alright, we then go into our sort of random storyline 6-man tag, which actually does really well, getting us a 78. And we have Mobstar, Papa Swole, and Matt Hocking defeating Gary Walker, Mighty Kavanaugh, and Public Enemy in 12:14, when Mobstar pinned Gary Walker with a flattener DDT. And of course, Gary and Mobstar have faced each other last month, so they're also pretty familiar with each other. I guess that would kind of, add a little bit extra to the match itself. We did have Gary Walker off his game, which is unfortunate, but Mobstar doing what he does best, getting an 87 in-ring there. Alright, we then move into a 77 rated angle, and of course we have the Moneymakers, and they come out to ringside prior to the entrances of the LA Stars, the Northern Lights, and Young and Wasted. They're kind of going to scout their opponents at ringside and sort of see what's going on. So 77 is pretty good. Of course, they were both scripted in this one. Alright, we then go into the Triple Threat Tag match, which does very well. You know, 72 rating there, kind of above expectations, as both LA Stars and the Northern Lights don't really have the popularity required. As you can see, we did have the LA Stars defeating the Northern Lights and Young and Wasted in 11:57. The order of elimination was the Northern Lights first, and then Young and Wasted. And of course, there was interference there, so I don't know why that's been cut off. But yeah, basically Zeus Maximilian interfering in the match, costing Brett Kyle the pinfall, and thus they were the last team eliminated from this triple threat. And our new number 1 contenders are the LA Stars. Happy. Alright, we then go into a 100 rated angle from Aldous Blackfriar. And of course, he is once again joined by the other 3 members of the Forces of Darkness. Got Mutant, Zombie Boy, and Original Sinner out there. As you can see, he did a masterful job. But basically, he's just talking to Original Sinner, saying that he wants him to really go out there and just try and destroy Logan Wolfsbane. Hit him with everything you got and don't leave him breathing. Pretty dark, sinister words coming from the dark occult leader himself. But I mean, you kind of expect nothing less from Aldous Blackfriar. That's by far the best match Original Sinner has ever been in. We get an 83 rated match. We have Logan Wolfsbane defeating Original Sinner in 11:36 by submission with a Boston Crab. But boy oh boy, a 40 in-ring performance from Original Sinner. Logan carried him that much. To a 40 in-ring. Insane. Anyway, 83, that might even beat the main event, to be honest. I have no idea. But that's pretty hilarious. Okay, we then move into an 84 rated angle. Unfortunately, Zeus struggling off script there, but Davis, the GOAT himself, doing pretty well. And of course, we have the Golden Goats, and they essentially discuss their involvement in that triple threat match. And of course, Zeus was the perpetrator of that interference. We have Davis sort of reiterating what he was doing. Basically, Davis says that we've taken notice of Young and Wasted and how impressive they've been. 2-time tag team champions, and of course the Golden Goats have yet to be champions. They want to prove themselves and try and get maybe themselves into that sort of tag team title picture somewhere down the line. Once sort of Davis, I guess, is finished with his sort of redemption storyline. Good stuff going into their match, which gets an 81 rating. Great stuff there as well. We have the Golden Goats defeating the Rock City Stars in 13:54 when Davis Wayne Newton pinned Rock and Ryan Turner with a fisherman suplex. And of course, Davis head and shoulders above everybody else in the match, getting a 93 in-ring performance there. Very impressive stuff. And we move on. And we move into an 88 rated angle. So that's actually pretty good from Ozzie Goldstein. He's not exactly the best sort of promo guy, but I'm happy with that. Definitely happy with an 88. That's pretty solid. And it also gained the storyline some more heat, which I'm very pleased with. But he basically says that, he wasn't the one that essentially cost him that semi-final match. So he doesn't really understand all the hate and, Maddie Faith wanting revenge against him. He might have been the one to get the victory and advance in the tournament. However, Faith should have, he should be looking more towards himself and more towards Angry Gilmore, who was the one that got involved and interfered in his match, costing him the match. And of course, then proceeding to lose to him again. Well, not again, but for the first time at the pay-per-view. Good stuff there, leading into the Maddie Faith main event. And it does really well. Best match on the show. So I'm very happy with that. We get an 86 rated main event here. And we have Maddie Faith drawing with Graham Gorman in 1952 following a double countout. I guess it's kind of double countout, double DQ. The match, it's kind of just, the match descended into chaos. Kind of like an overbook, but I don't actually want to use overbook. So, match also had a lot of interference. We had Charlie Corner target Gorman, Ryan Turner attack Gorman, Stan Manor attack Gorman, and finally Ozzie Goldstein interfered against Maddie Faith. Pretty interesting stuff there, but I really like that main event. That's a solid 86. It's a good way to, I guess, not have a winner and still keep both these guys strong to a certain extent. And again, continue with the storyline. Obviously, Faith No More. They would get involved in a main event. Try and, get a victory there for their leader. And then Goldstein's going to get involved because it's Maddie Faith and he's been coming at him recently. So pretty happy with that. We end the show, and that's another really, really good show rating. Get an 88 overall rating there for our last show here on the episode. And again, increasing popularity in 56 regions. So that is another increase there for Ontario. So I'm assuming we might have actually gone up another point in popularity. And if not now, we'll probably definitely go up at the pay-per-view. So I'm really looking forward to that. The thing is, the more we go up in popularity, the better our TV shows need to be in order to maintain that popularity. So we could potentially, down the future or down the line a little bit, have losses in that region, in Ontario. Anyway, you got Jason Thunder leaving CWA. I mean, the fact that we're getting Mainstream Hernandez and we can't actually get Thunder and Lightning together, probably won't sign him. We do have Flip Simpkins, though, who is a very young, very talented, and very over 25-year-old worker from CWA. As you can see, he is really, really talented. Yeah, I like him. I like him. He's also Canadian, so it kind of fits pretty well. And he's also I guess a former CGC worker coming out of the Decult Powerhouse. That's pretty cool. We're gonna sign him. Gonna be expensive. Probably expensive as hell, let's be honest. Alright, so exclusive written. Gotta always double check that every single time now. Alright, what's the rival offer? Okay, so it's 4 years. I mean, we're going 10. And I guess we'll have to go 20% bonus here as well. We might be able to get away with 10, actually. Alright, so it was 40,800. Actually doesn't seem too bad. But he still thinks he has a better offer. And he's still not going to want to accept that offer there either. Okay. You know what? We're going to put this one in. Because what's going to happen is they're going to come back like already and try and, I guess, outbid us. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to worry about that too much. We'll come back in next episode and try and sign Flip Simpkins. He looks really good. Really good. Lacking a little bit in psychology, but it's pretty close. He's what, 60? Yeah, 61. So he's what, 4 points away from calling 12-minute matches? That's good. Look at his selling, consistency, safety, flashiness, and aerial. Even technicals up there pretty well. Good star quality. Somewhat decent on the microphone as well. And he's got some sex appeal. It's always good. Yeah, I don't think we're going to go in for Brock. Alright, there we go. 1.96 TV rating this time. 1.474 million viewers. Up to 1.552 million overall. I want to have a look at something, actually. Let's go back here. Show history. Are they losing? No, I mean, they're not really losing. They're kind of maintaining the same amount of subscribers there. But it seems like our network is really coming along. And the difference there is nearly 90,000. So that's pretty big for one week's shows. You know, 1 week's difference. Anyway, take a quick little look. Of course, I think Aldous was already at 90 popularity. So yeah, he was already there. Don't really have to look at that. Davis, still 87. I don't think it's ever going to go above 87, which is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. Can't really do anything about that. Maddie Faith. So he's 78. I think he was 77, so he's gained 1 point so far. But I think he might have been 79 before that main event. Not 100% sure. He might have been. We got Mobstar still on 92. Obviously, to get these guys up in popularity, it's going to be very, very tough, very difficult. Goldstein still on 81 there as well. How's Mutant doing? He's gained 1 point this month. That's not terrible. Upper Swole still on 54, which I think, yeah, I mean, he's up 1 point as well. That's not terrible. Alright, anyone else I need to look at? What about... And Zach, still 38. I mean, that's really it, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, maybe Matt Hocking, but he doesn't really matter too much. Anyway, we're up to 70 popularity in Quebec there. So that's really cool. Second green. We're only seven points away in Quebec from having the popularity required for us to go up to big size. That's awesome. But we're still 10 away in Manitoba, 20 in Alberta, and what? That? Sorry, 30 in Alberta, and 23 in Saskatchewan. Rough times. Anyway, this episode going for an hour and 50 minutes. I'm going to end it here, guys. Thank you very much. If you enjoy the episode, please make sure you smash the like button. Drop a like, please. It really does help out the videos, apparently, with the algorithm. I never thought it did. I thought it was always, like, view time. So, what do I know? But please, it also just, it makes me feel better. When I see more likes on a video, I know that, you know, you guys enjoyed that episode in particular. And I feel like this is a pretty good one. I mean, we're going in for Flip Simpkins. We've already signed the guy you probably clicked on the video for, and that is Mainstream Hernandez. Of course, he's also Canadian. Didn't notice that before, but that's also very, very cool. And I mean, honestly, things are looking really good, and I feel like our storylines are really... Like, since we started actually doing storylines, I think we've definitely progressed, and we've really got some decent stories every month and every episode, really. Continue to build and create new storylines every 2 episodes. But yeah, anyway, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well with the notification bell turned on. And also a big thank you again for all of you that have that bell turned on. Make sure you turn it on. Click a little ding. That's all you have to do. All notifications. And you'll be notified when the episodes come out, guys. Apart from that, as always, take it easy and goodbye.